Hello everyone, this is Matt with GamerRoundup. Just wanted to take a minute and kind of speak to the rumors going around about Square Enix being for sale and who benefits the most from the possible purchase of or acquisition of Square Enix by a major third-party company. So first I want to talk about the tweet that came out from Dr. Sorokin Toto stating Square Enix here in Japan just reached out officially to down the rumor. So the rumor, which was reported, was by Bloomburg that Square Enix was in possible talks with a third party for purchase. Their response, which I find very interesting, and I'll get to that in a moment, but their response was very bland and very to the point. Bloomberg has reported today that there is an interest from several buyers to acquire Square Enix. However, this report is not based on any announcement by Square Enix Holdings Companies Limited. We do not consider selling off the company. I don't know why they worded it like that. We do not consider selling off the company or any part of its businesses, nor have we received any offer from any third party to acquire the company or any part of its businesses. So the bland response is very interesting for a couple of reasons. One, when you put out a very bland response to a rumor almost immediately, it basically assures that yes, some sort of conversations have been ongoing. Probably multiple parties have had conversations, and we all know who they're referring to. It's really between PlayStation, Sony, and Microsoft Xbox. And there's a couple of reasons why this is important. So Sony already has the relationship and partnership on multiple IPs and privileges that go with those IPs that they have, fostered a deal with to, for exclusivity. So Square Enix already has multiple partnerships with Sony, PlayStation, not just in the gaming world, especially with Final Fantasy, but they also have multiple deals where they're working with Crunchyroll, which Sony acquired recently as well. Why this is important is the Crunchyroll acquisition plays a part into getting into the Chinese market, or for Sony, really kind of seeding their way in deeper into the Chinese market, which is a huge market. Right now, Microsoft, from recent pollings, is as of 2020, October 2020, Microsoft already has a 55% share of the gaming market in China. And if they were able to purchase Square Enix or acquire them, almost instantly that would jump their market share from 55, probably at least 5%, if not 10, if not up to 10%. And we're talking instantly. We're not talking overall. A 5% growth in the Chinese market is a tremendous growth, just based on sheer volume of consumers, and then growing from there with whatever holdings that are currently in the works that Sony or Microsoft could put additional funding behind and kind of push out. So just from that perspective alone, continuing to be the bulk shareholder and growing a bigger share of the market in China is enough to just make this deal make sense for Microsoft. Not saying this deal doesn't make sense for either one of them, but here's why I believe Microsoft is the one that's actually behind this. So, by increasing a hold, in the Chinese market along with additional growth, the other piece of this that I find really interesting is Bloomberg, who does not report falsely, to my knowledge, and as is considered a very prestigious business magazine and website. They don't just make things up. And, so if they're releasing information about possible acquisition of a major player of Square Enix, it's happening. Those conversations are ongoing. There's also, there's a narrative out there that's gaining a little traction that bankers release this information to drum up business. Without saying too much, I can unequivocally 100% tell you that it was not released by a banker. Bankers have significant privacy laws for every market that they have to follow, not just in the United States market or the Japanese market or the European Union, but they have the cumulative or the highest standard that is required by each individual market is what they hold every market to. So the release of information by a banker is, I can tell you, 100% unequivocally a false narrative. And why am I even bringing this up? Who has the most to gain from this information coming out? So Friday, Square Enix stock rose 13%. Is Square Enix going to release that information? There's a very minute possibility, but with their immediate release of the, the market, the statement they issued immediately following that shows panic. Doesn't mean that it couldn't have come from them, but the way they panicked and circled the wagons tells me two things. One, there absolutely is talks going, and two, they weren't the one that released the information. So, who has the most to gain by the market price going up? Obviously, Square Enix is going to make more money if their company is valued more based on stock price. But if we have two major players vying for their companies, either just the video game piece or the whole of Square Enix Ltd. One company is actively trying to pressure their publishers to make hit games, cutting staff, and I'm looking at you, Sony. And another major player is spending money, literally putting billions on fire if they wanted to, because they have so much in reserve, not just from their gaming side, but the company that they are a part of as a whole. And I'm talking about Microsoft. So let's float out the scenario. Let's say Square Enix has a much better partnership with Sony than they do with Microsoft. Not every decision is based on money. So they might look at the ease of transition and holding, their, the staff and their additional their additional creation studios in whole as an easy transition to Sony. Sony doesn't have they have a ton of money, but they're looking to keep it. They're not looking to spend it. So let's say if the offers are similar, and I have no idea what they are, but let's say Sony offers $4 million and Microsoft offers $4 billion and Microsoft offers $5 billion. They might be more inclined to take less money because of the outstanding relationship they have. Now, if something comes out, let's say, hey, Bloomburg, for instance, quotes, there might be a deal going on and the stock price raises, 13%. Now, we might be so far out of the original realm of the offer that Sony was offering. The price might be $6 billion, $7 billion, $8 billion. And Microsoft could come in and offer 30% above asking just because they can. And you really can't, when you're talking $4 billion to $10 billion as far as purchases, there's no way you could sell it to the shareholders that we took less because it made sense. You can't take less than 50% if it doesn't make sense, and it never does, because the reality is these are all businesses at the end of the day, all responsible to their stockholders to make them money. So Microsoft has the money. Microsoft benefits the most by this quote being released by Bloomberg and driving up the price. And finally, Microsoft is really trying to get, I believe, they did we're going to develop independent studios and grow them. And they've done amazing. There's been so many great games they've released that are indie hits and indie darlings, but they need major established publishers. That's why they went out and bought Bethesda. That's why they're probably going to buy Square Enix. Not only do they gain market share outside of the United States, but now they have a full offering inside the United States and continue to grow the Game Pass Ultimate. And if you're talking 10 million people paying $14.99 a month, that's $150 million a month that they don't have to do anything for. That's guaranteed money they're getting every month for nothing. And I don't want to say nothing. So even with Game Pass Ultimate, I tell everyone, you got to get it. It's absolutely tremendous, and it's completely worth every single penny I pay on it. But that's, really all I wanted to say. That's my 2 cents. One, it was not released by a banker. It absolutely was not. That's a false narrative. Sony is spending money like crazy, so driving up the stock price has no bearing on their offering, and it really drives out their competition drives out their opponents from the bidding war, because Sony just not wanting to spend that much money, and Microsoft is completely okay with it because their outside businesses from gaming are not taking a hit. Sony's taking a hit because nobody's going to the movies. Everything's coming direct to release because of COVID. So, Sony's trying to save money. Microsoft is absolutely aware of that, cognizant of that, and doing their best to really turn the screws on them. And it's a very smart, sound business acumen, showing that they know what their competition's up against right now and how to, come out benefiting the most from it. And I think we all as consumers will too, especially those of us inside the Microsoft suite of services. We're all going to benefit from it. So, again, that's my 2 cents. I think it's absolutely Xbox going to purchase it based on Square Enix's reaction. They're absolutely having those conversations, and they overreacted in the incorrect manner, which basically lets me believe that if they're trying to pull something off, they're trying to do it secretively, which is how these things usually work. Microsoft probably told somebody, hey, you need to run this story, and they're just sitting back laughing because there's no way Sony's going to bid it now. So 6 months to a year, I guarantee you'll hear the acquisition of Square Enix by Microsoft. Again, this is Matt with Gamer Roundup. I appreciate everyone stopping by, checking this video out. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments below. I'll respond and provide the most information I can. And make sure that you hit that like and subscribe button. Until next time, take care.